Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Transformers Generation Selects Amazon exclusive Galaxy Odyssey subline. This is Barricade and Punch Counterpunch. Both of these figures are repaints of previously released figures. I think this is called the Dominus Pursuit set. Barricade is a straight repaint of Earthrise Smokescreen, whereas Punch Counterpunch is a repaint of the previously released Power of the Primes Amazon exclusive Punch Counterpunch. This deco is actually based on the, I think, released in 2020, 2019 G.I. Joe versus Transformers comic, which had like a real 80s style, so they just lighten the colors. Now, I do want to apologize in advance that I will not be doing comparisons with the original Smokescreen mold or the original Punch Counterpunch mold, namely because with Smokescreen, Earthrise Smokescreen, I can't find it. I mean, I know where it is. It's in a box with Blue Streak and Prowl and Ironhide, looking when I'm trying to condense my Earthrise figures, but really not sure where that box is, and to be honest, it's not really worth it to me to go looking for it. Punch Counterpunch, on the other hand, the original Amazon release actually goes for a pretty penny now, so I'm trying not to touch it that much. Probably gonna resell it since having this figure in hand. But as I mentioned at the beginning, this is an Amazon exclusive set and it can be found there. So what we'll do is pause and we'll come in and take a closer look at Barricade. Barricade has an interesting story. This overall design was originally created by the artist Marcelo Marcer as what the movie Barricade would look like in a G1 style. And basically, it was a repaint of Smokescreen, but with a light bar. So using that stock rally car design, but with police lights. Previously, in Siege, we got Barricade as a repaint of the Cybertronian Datsuns. That was a repaint of the Generation Selects Smokescreen release, but because it was mainline retail, where Smokescreen came with shoulder cannons and a handgun, Barricade only came with the shoulder cannons and, well, I guess you can, since the light bar was removable, you can consider it an accessory as well, whereas Prowl just came with the handgun and the light bar. Now, in Earthrise, things got shuffled. Smokescreen was a mainline release, so it got its shoulder cannons and the handgun, whereas Prowl, being an exclusive, just got the light bar and its handgun. But Barricade, also being exclusive, is done as a straight repaint of Smokescreen, so it has its shoulder cannons, the handgun, as well as the additional light bar here on the back from Prowl. You know, it just pegs in, what have you. So I guess you can say this is a combination of the two figures. I mean, I'm really not going to go that nuts over it. Basically, if you remember on Smokescreen, its guns were all blue. Here, they're done in a lavender design. The handgun here is actually even lavender, but it's what's nice is, I got to take these off to get them out, it fits very snugly in the hand. So what they did is, this was originally done in the lavender, but they painted the top part gold. It's good that they didn't paint the handle, just because with how tight it is getting it in and out of the hand, that paint would rub off. Something else I'd like to do with these is, since the even though they're tabs, they do fit in the slots, is you can give Barricade some wrist blasters, which is kind of a little homage to its original movie design that had weapons coming out of its hands. Other than that, I mean, you know, Smokescreen, I'm sure we all know what it looks like. that blue with the red and white and black racing highlights and stuff like that. Here, I think the joints here were blue and now they're lavender. And one thing I want to mention is, I think you'll see it in a little bit better in vehicle mode, is there's a two-tone of black. You have a little bit of a glossy black here, but on the inside you have a much more matte black, and that follows through on robot mode. Like I said, it's easier to actually see in vehicle mode. So since I've done the transformation for this design a few times, we'll just go from this to this. And as you can see, here's Barricade in its police car, Earth mode police car. We do have the police here on the side, very much like the movie design. And let me go ahead and remove the gun, just pegs in right there, and you can see better what I'm talking about. Here's that like gunmetal gray finish right here, surrounded by the glossy black. And then coming around, you have more like a matte black here on top, and going around the back, though it's not as light as here. This is actually really more almost like a brown, but here you have it a flat matte black here, but then on the sides you have the gloss, just like that. So much like the original Siege release, I think Barricade just looks fantastic as a car and as a robot. The shades of black and brown really work. The lavender is quite nice. A few things I want to mention that, frankly, I'm noticing now, as opposed to the previous releases of Smokescreen and Prowl and even Blue Streak. Right here, these are the heels of robot mode. If you remember, these flip out. Well, there's little tabs now that I don't remember being there, so they actually kind of hook into place. So when getting them out, you really have to like kind of massage around the plastic to unhook them. Also, the little panels that fit inside the leg to try and close the hollow gap, those actually hold on a lot better than any other version of the mold. So with that, I don't know. Other than that, the tolerances are still fine. Everything tabs together well. Closing this up, like the doors and such, I feel comes together quite nicely. I don't notice any gapping as I did before. That I guess maybe because the black is just covering it up. But other than that, it rolls fine, and it's all fine and dandy. So yeah, that's about it for Barricade. We'll pause and take a look at Punch Counterpunch. Okay, so here's Punch Counterpunch. I think this is in its punch configuration. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than Barricade. Powers of the Prime had a different scale thing going on. This is an entirely new mold, which was kind of surprising to get for a store exclusive. For those of you not familiar with the character, it's really Counterpunch is an Autobot spy. It is able to infiltrate the Decepticons by turning into Punch, its Decepticon counterpart. In terms of animation, it appeared for like 30 seconds in Season 3, which was that Rebirth series. So it was like 3 episodes, as well as a commercial advertising the toy. It got a little bit more life in the Japanese exclusive Headmasters cartoon, where he really was almost like a comedic relief, because trying to keep his identity secret from the Decepticons and Galvatron was a bit of was kind of hard. The original toy was kind of cool because it did have that double spy type of gimmick, and it even went further by having 2 different weapons for each character. Counterpunch had a yellow double-barreled blaster, while his Punch had a black long-range rifle. Go and look up the history of that toy, because some of the earlier designs were quite interesting. I mean, you had one design where the figure was going to split open like a book and turn inside out, or split apart down the middle of the car mode, and you would transform each side depending on if you wanted Autobot or Decepticon, and then put it back together. So there's a lot of interesting things going on. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, the color scheme is based on its comic book appearance in the G.I. Joe versus Transformers comic. So the blue is a much lighter blue than a darker navy blue or cobalt blue as the original toy and the original Power of the Prime release. You also have yellow highlights that really weren't here before, as well as some lavender metallic purple detailing here on the legs. The hands are even a little bit different, whereas before they were just black, and this is actually like a very dark bluish green. So very nice there. And I gotta say, even though I'm usually a stickler for animation accuracy, I really dig this look, and I think I'm going to be selling my Power of the Primes version of Punch Counterpunch just because I like this design so much better. Again, that's why we're not seeing it, as I don't want to handle it too much since it does go for a pretty penny. Finally, to take a look at the head here, there are some, again, that bluish green is now on the face with the silver detailing. I do have a little bit of a problem with the head, that it usually wants the friction to place looking off center. Apparently that was also an issue on the original version of this release of this figure, but it wasn't as bad. So your mileage may vary. It is not easy to pop off the head. I've tried as much as I'm going to, because again, I don't want to break the toy. Also, for those of you who maybe are new to the fandom or had forgotten and never had the original toy, there is a assembly error outside of the packaging. The shoulder section right there that connects the arms to the main part of the body, it's a plastic hinge piece that's put in the wrong way. You have to flip it around so that this flat part is actually at the top. That will allow the arm to come up all the way for vehicle mode, but it also causes the arm to droop down past 90 degrees in robot mode. Now, as I said at the time, I really didn't notice a problem, but I did the fix anyway just to avoid any issues. As time has passed, some people have mentioned getting stress marks on the shoulder pieces here, which form the front of the car, the tabs, and some of the internal structures. So I strongly recommend doing the fix. Basically what you do is, and as some people have mentioned, you do run the risk of damaging the figure more this way. So be careful. I recommend using a spudger, going into the seam here, prying it up just enough to get that piece out, flip it around, and put it back in. In my original review of Punch Counterpunch, I actually show you how to do the fix, so please go seek out that video. I think I'll actually put a link in the description at the end of the cards, just so you can do it. Now, in terms of transformation, since it's been a while, I think I'll go ahead and show you guys the transformation. So, go ahead and remove the weapon. First thing you want to do is flip down this chest piece. Just be careful getting it down. For some reason, it kind of wants to pop out on this side, but whatever. Go ahead and flip the head crest down. That will open up the face on the counterpunch side. Rotate the hands around so we get counterpunches hands through. And then finally, I guess you can turn the figure around now. Rotate the chest panel up, and then what you'll do is lift up these shoulder panels. They kind of peg into place. You'll rotate them. You want to rotate them on there's like a double hinge here, so rotate them and rotate them again, so that it's basically what would be the front of the car is facing towards you, and then you're going to collapse it all back down. But make sure you actually see that big bolt right there. You want that facing in towards the head, so everything will collapse down nicely, and you're going to have it fold back. There's a angled tab on the arm there that will peg into a slot here on the shoulder piece, and just give it a press and it will friction in just like so. And if you notice the head moving, this is what I was talking about in terms of that, like the head wants to look off center. So we'll repeat it again on this side. Just get that up, get it down, and then just peg it in. It's a little harder to get in than I remember, but once it's in, it's holds into place a little bit better. I guess it's because of the repainting. And there you have Autobot Counterpunch. Again, nice homage to the original figure. Would have been nice to have some flip out feet. It's actually kind of interesting on the original toy. The way they designed it, Counterpunch was supposed to be smaller. You weren't supposed to extend the legs for Counterpunch mode, so it would be the same size as traditional Autobot cars, but people kind of were like not paying attention, so that's what happened. What's interesting is you do have this great double knee, so you have knee bends either way. And I do want to mention that at least on mine, the hips are a little bit looser than what they were. So yeah, that's about it for this robot mode. Now, I'm going to go all the way to vehicle mode. Transformation isn't that difficult. Go ahead, flip down the chest piece. You can leave this visor up, but what you're going to want to do is come behind here and make sure you flip up the Decepticon insignia. Now, I don't remember if it matters what hands you have out, but the instructions always went from Counterpunch mode to car mode, so I'll just leave those hands out. What you want to do now is unpeg the shoulders and then just bring them up slightly, like so. Again, they'll kind of like, friction into place here. But you want to make sure you have enough room to come in and open up the chest panel here on the punch side and flip out what will be the front of the car. Go ahead, close that back up. And now bring those shoulder panels down all the way. They'll like friction into place as you bring the arm up. And it will all tab together, just like so. Come around on this side. Make sure you have the arms tabbed into place on the side of the vehicle. Again, doing the arm fix makes this a little bit easier. But then again, I never noticed the difference in the first place. So it's 6 of one, half of another. What you want to do now is, with the punch side facing up, flip out the back of the legs, and then continue to flip out these internal pieces that'll form the roof and the rear windshield of the car. Peg the legs together, make sure they're nice and tight, and then fold the legs down, and this will kind of fold up. And then what you're going to do is close up all this paneling around the punch side, and you'll have the car mode. And the easiest way to do it is make sure you get those tabs right into the front there, and that will help peg everything over. Did I miss something? Oh, no, there we go. And you just got to give it a little bit of the old transformer squeeze, and it will peg together quite nicely. For some reason, this front end wants to come up a little. I don't know if I'm missing something, but again, transformer squeeze fixes everything. You do have a little bit of a gap here in the back. Your mileage may vary on that, but... And then finally, what's nice is there is some weapon storage. There's a tab right there where my finger is. Go ahead, peg the gun in, and you have oh, you know what? I screwed up, everybody. Oopsies. Oopsies. I know what the problem is, and good thing I caught it. You do not fold down this chest piece. That was my mistake. I am very sorry. Don't kill me. You'll be, and for those of you who've already left 20 comments, you're a bit behind. But yeah, you want that chest piece folded up, and then you just peg the gun in here. Nice that they have weapon storage and what have you. And yeah, there you have Punch Counterpunch in its nondescript car mode. Like I said, I like the yellow detailing all around the side now. I like this lighter shade of blue. And overall, it's a fun mold, but I think comparing it to Barricade, you do see a little bit of how they've come along in just a few years in terms of design. I don't think this is the last time we're going to see Punch Counterpunch. I think we will see a newer version. Probably, though, it will be a movie design. So in terms of G1 design, you might have to wait for a masterpiece or just another release. And yeah, there's that little bit of gapping there. It's not on this side. It's only on this side, so I'm trying to figure out what it is. It could just be the second mold syndrome creeping in, but there you go. Rolls quite nicely. So that's about it for Punch Counterpunch. So we'll pause, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. Okay, so of course, with these sets, the real question is, do I recommend buying them? If you don't have the Punch Counterpunch figure, then definitely this set is worth a purchase, because that figure is going for over $100, and this set goes for less than half that. It's a fun figure. It's great that you basically have a quad former. You're going from Autobot, Decepticon to car. So okay, three modes. I mean, the Autobot, you know, I would say it's not like a triple. I wouldn't call this a triple changer, because the Autobot to Decepticon robot is more like changing a mode than a full transformation. Then again, potato. But definitely, if you don't have that Power of the Primes release, and let me tell you, the Takara release, which was an opportunity for people to get it below what it was going for at the second market, that's even going for a lot of money now. So definitely, if you don't have it, get this version. In terms of Barricade, that's always a hard recommendation. I like the fact that it has the shoulder guns as well as the main rifle, which is something the Siege version didn't get. There's going to be like a sparkless version coming in the Netflix line, but that's going to be a repaint of the Siege mold, so you're not going to get all the accessories. I like the overall look of the vehicle mode. I like the colors. I like how it all comes together. It feels good. And of the three releases, Prowl, Blue Streak, and Smokescreen, and I think this one feels the best. I think Smokescreen was like right there, but again, that's another store exclusive. So definitely, it's up to you. Now, there might, if you're on the fence, this is the big thing. If you're on the fence, go for it, because with these Amazon exclusives, a lot of times when they're gone, they're gone. So you can always resell it. You can always do something with it. So I'm just pointing out options you have. But with that said, as I said at the beginning, both figures are great, and it is interesting to see, you know, Power of the Primes was like, let's see, we're in Kingdom now, so Kingdom, it's about 4 years old already, whereas Barricade is only one. That mold is only one. So you can see a difference in design. But yeah, that's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Well, I will always appreciate the views, your likes, comments, and subscriptions. Communicate through the algorithms to YouTube and Google that my videos should be held upon high and my channel promoted and exalted. If you really want to make the ultimate sign of support to my channel, please consider joining my Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/ChuckDog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month. No thrills, no tiers, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you bring figures like this to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. New light box, replacements, stuff like that. But again, as I always say, if you can't do the $12 a year or $1 a month, just watching my videos is support enough. So, with that being said, for Barricade and Punch Counterpunch, it's your old pal Chuck, and we will see you next time.